Post-match pint, Liverpool have beaten Brighton 2-0. It was as run-of-the-mill a game as I think you're going to get. I've got Adam Melia and Andy Bell with me. Andy, half 12 kick-off, Saturday morning. That's perfect, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, for that sort of game, I think especially when they have been massively off form for quite a while now. And listen, we saw them when we came to Anfield earlier this season. Sorry, when they came to Anfield earlier this season, you know, they were really, really good. They were probably the better team over that game and loads of energy. And we've been a bit lucky that we've caught them at this time, because for quite a while now I've been a bit worried about this fixture, thinking, you know, Brighton are the type of team who, I'm really impressed with Graham Potter, loads of energy, and they play in a similar way to us, so therefore they train in a similar way to us, and it's one of those tricky, bitty games that you can sort of get dragged into, and it can become a little bit awkward. But because they've been off form for quite a while now, I think the last 4 games they've lost, it's been a good time to play them. And you know, while they come out first 10-15, I was a little bit worried by the real sort of energy the fullbacks were putting into it, and you saw Mopé was holding it up quite well, and their wingers were getting into the game. But after that, I think Liverpool rode that storm and knew certainly they can't keep up that intensity for 90 minutes, and that transpired. Liverpool get a real control of the game, and we're pretty comfortable in the end. It was a nice afternoon.
Yeah, it was. As Andy says, mate, first 10 minutes, we're flapping, aren't we, watching it? Yeah. You know, Liverpool are spread out. Their pressure's really, you know, getting some joy out of us. They create a couple of half chances, and you're left watching it, just when are Liverpool going to kick in? When are Liverpool going to kick in? What, you know, how do we start imposing ourselves on this game? And then it just happens.
Yeah, I think I walked in about one minute in, 2 minutes in, and you said to me, we haven't had the ball yet. And that was how it was for the first, I'm not sure, maybe first 10. It was basically just Mane would get the ball and then it'd fall over, but it wasn't a free kick. So we couldn't, it seemed like that none of our players basically were getting the ball for that first period. And then for some reason, I don't know whether he was the most influential, but I just started noticing Keita was picking it up. And I think he decided to come a bit deeper, sort of next to Fabinho, and he was picking it up. Fabinho was winning things, pinching things, and yet I think whatever it was that their plan was, which had obviously worked because they'd managed to create some the pass before the pass sort of chances, and a few shots from further out. That really had frittered away, and I think by the time we score, we look well the better team. And we just needed the first, and then once we get the first, it's a case of we just need the second, because we are well the better team here. Yeah,
it was. I think, as you said, then, mate, it was pressure. You know, they had pressure for 10 minutes, but they were putting a lot into it. And as soon as that drops very, very slightly, Liverpool just get hold of the game. They start dictating the play, and then Diaz pops up with the goal, and nearly gets killed. Yeah. Which was mad. And I don't know, we'll talk about Diaz in a minute, but the decision's a funny one. The decision's an odd one, and I don't know, what you think?
It is a really difficult one. I mean, at the time I thought it was around 50-50, and obviously if it's 50-50, then VAR can't retrospectively view it and give it. It has to be clear and obvious. I think, you know, over the years with similar decisions like that, you think of the Mane one against Ederson, and listen, that one wasn't as bad as Mane against Ederson. Mane was, you know, studs in the face, and, you know, it literally cut Ederson open in the face. That was different, but we always get told, like, in situations like that intent doesn't matter. You know, as the player, you're responsible for the safety of your opponent, and ultimately, regardless of whether or not you've gone for the ball, if you've kicked somebody in the face, you've endangered them, and that's, you know, a serious concussion protocol, whatever, you know, that can be quite dangerous. And so from that perspective, you sort of think, well, it doesn't really matter if the ball's there to be won. If you've put an opposition player in danger and haven't got the ball, then that should be a red card. At the same time, it looks probably worse in real time than when you see it back. He sort of catches him around the slightly upper midriff, and you know, it's one of those, as an attacker, you have to go for, don't you? You know, imagine the abuse he would have got in this pub if he had it pulled out of that, and obviously the ball hadn't gone in the net. But I mean, it's another example from, I think, Diaz in general, about how he sort of fits into our ethos and our style of play, and, you know, like sticking the head in there. Especially, he's been in the Premier League for 1 month. You know, he's been every single time there's a sort of foreign player, a South American player comes into the Premier League, there's always questions unfairly about whether they can fit into the physical side of things, and, you know, more often than not they can, but it's still said every single time and time again. I mean, to put your head in that situation and to get us a goal early doors was just massive for us. And I think in general today for Diaz, he was, I mean, I think we've all said it before. Every touch and every movement and every counter press when he loses the ball is just so Liverpool. And I said to Michael there when I was watching the game, he fits into our system better than some players who've been here for 5 or 6 years have. It's absolutely mad. And I think he gets man of the match on BT, and rightly so. I thought he's absolutely magical with every touch. And the only thing was at the end, I think he does actually try to square it to Jota, doesn't he? And doesn't quite get there. And that would have capped it off perfectly, wouldn't it? But yeah, really impressed with him today. And I almost can't believe we were going to wait till the summer before we signed him, because he hasn't need any bedding in time at all. He didn't need a pre-season. He could have just come straight in like he has, and I'm so glad that Tottenham forced their hand on this one.
So first off, should he go, the keeper? I mean, he does nearly kill.
I think it's wild. And like, I did think about it quite a lot afterwards, because it's a funny one with the VAR. The first thing is it offside, or and is it a red card? Obviously the ball's gone in the net, so you're like, there's a few things in play, isn't there, for them few minutes, and I said to you, I just hope it's a goal. Like, and so once it's a goal, and I sort of feel like that influences the ref a bit as well. Like if it doesn't go in, does he send him off? And those sorts of things, as Andy said, shouldn't come into play, but I sort of think they do a bit. And so we were saying, like, if that's Alisson,
he gets exported.
If that's well, I was saying if that's Alisson and he doesn't get sent off, then at half time they're like smashing the studio with rage about how he doesn't, because his legs so high, like it's a wild body position.
I almost can't be bothered with a cry arson if they sent him off and gave the goal.
Oh,
that's like kind of
you're right, actually.
Thing. And as much as like it would have been completely justified, as much as the first thing that happened to Liverpool, can't be bothered with the sort of week-long media outrage over it.
You're right, and yeah, I think I sort of stick to my guns and say I just wanted a goal. I just wanted it to be a goal, not offside. So as soon as I seen it wasn't offside, I was like quite relaxed about all of this. That's mad what he's done. Why is his leg there? But okay.
Why was his leg so stiff as well? Is what I like. His legs.
It was like an Iberico ham. Huge.
It just dropped in. Like it fell from a height.
Couldn't get my leg like that.
Real cow leg.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
The maddest take on this was it showed it from the other end of the pitch, and there was a Brighton fan behind the goal who was appealing for a foul for them. And it was
not sure, mate. Not
maybe
sure.
not.
Hello Reds, thanks for watching that taster of the post-match pint. If you want to watch the rest of that video, really easy to watch it right here on YouTube. Just click the join button below. That activates the membership. It gives you access to the Anfield Wrap's premium videos, which includes the post-match pint, but also reviews, previews, exclusive interviews, and it means you can follow us, follow them from here, the heart of Liverpool.